What's up, everybody? It's the Hard Deconstruction. You can find us at harddeconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/harddeconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hard Deconstruction Videos Comp, and...
Sightseers.
Okay, today's film is Daniel. No, today's film is...
Sightseers, 2012.
Sightseers. Sightseers 2012 or 2012. Oh my god, that just reminded me. I saw that movie 2012. That movie with
Oh, is that supposed to be the end of the world?
The world. Oh, horrible. Anyway, Chris wants to show girlfriend Tina his world, but events soon conspire against the couple, and their dream caravan holiday takes a very wrong turn. Directed by Ben Wheatley, written by Alice Lowe and Steve Oram. Stars Alice Lowe, Keith Hadley, and Steve Oram. They wrote it. Oh, that's nice.
That's
good for
awesome.
them. I didn't think about that. That's nice. I should have paid attention. Anyway, so this film is directed by Ben Wheatley, a director I very much like. He did the films Kill List, High Rise, and A Field in England, and U is for Unearthed in the ABCs of Death. I like Ben Wheatley's work. He's a very eccentric director, and every film of his looks certainly different than one another. We talked about not High Rise. We talked about A Field in England, as well as Kill List here. And I believe we liked both of them.
We liked Unearthed too.
Yeah, Used for Unearthed. We did talk about that one too. That's a great one. So Ben Wheatley is a UK director. He's very good at directing, I think. So he's going to be coming out with a film soon, an American film, I think.
Free Fire.
Yeah, Free Fire. And I saw the trailer for it. It's one of those trailers that show absolutely everything that just happens in the movie, which is sort of like it's mostly
I'm not gonna watch it.
No, it looks good. Oh yeah, don't look at the trailer. Watch the movie.
Yeah,
but it's like 8 people stuck in a room and a gun sale goes wrong, and they're basically just shooting at each other. So I assume it's just a shootout for 8 hours. So I'm thinking it's going to be like the Hateful Eight sort of, which I liked. So, but it's Ben Wheatley, so I'm sure it'll be good. Okay. Anyway, I did see High Rise, a really good film. It's a very interesting film about a bunch of rich people in sort of dystopian 70s. It takes place in the 70s, but a future 70s, where the buildings and the every level constitutes a different sort of class of people. So the rich people live on a certain level, and the poor people live on another level, and it's just warfare towards the end. It's a very cool film. It's a very interesting film. And Kill List, obviously, is one of the best films I've seen. I love that movie. It's that was
the first Ben Wheatley film I ever saw.
It's a hitman film that dissolves into a cult horror movie, which I think I just spoiled, but whatever. Anyway, so Ben Wheatley's film Sightseers. Danny, why did you pick this film? I was going to pick this film a long time ago, and I just forgot about it.
Ben Wheatley. That's it.
Very good. Yeah, I forgot about it. I was going to pick this film, and I completely forgot about it. But it's a good film. It's a very dry British film. And what happened in this film? How does the film start out?
Basically, it's like these two dorks are going on a.
They're in their mid-30s. Do we look this old? Do you think they don't look old? Maybe they olded them up for the film.
I think we do, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I know it's hard when you and you're
I feel
yourself.
Like I'm like 10, you know.
Yeah, I know. Same here. Because she looks certainly young. She looks like in her 30s, but he looks like maybe in his 40s or something like that. And,
I mean, I got a giant mustache. I think it makes me look older.
And Alice Lowe was actually in Hot Fuzz and The World's End, but I can't remember who she was in those films.
Oh, that's how the Edgar Wright connection comes in, maybe.
Right, and then he also produced the film. Edgar Wright produced this film, so that's why they... You know that guy, that scumbag that's throwing all the garbage on the floor and stuff? He's eating a cornetto, which is a reference to... No, that's not Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright is a very skinny, fey young gentleman. The guy throwing garbage, he's eating a cornetto, which is sort of like an ice cream bar or something that they eat in England. And the name of the Shaun of the Dead trilogy is like the Cornetto trilogy, all those films, like Hot Fuzz and The World's End.
Okay.
So Ben Wheatley writes this, he directs this film, and his directing style is very, you can't pinpoint it, because
this is supposed to be like, it almost feels like... like old school what are the camcorder, like this almost felt like it was like filmed like really well with a camcorder or something, like. Yeah, this is
a very English film, and I don't know how that is, because I don't know how to explain that. I guess all his films are very English films, but I can't say it's obviously because the main characters are English and it's taking place in English land, and but anyway, it's very dry.
Is like totally English.
It's very dry humor, and it's not like to say I don't get into English humor, because I have laughed at a lot of obviously Mr. Bean, but Mr. Bean is more universal sort of comedic stuff.
Yeah.
There's also stuff like, because there's things that people like Monty Python and Faulty Towers. I never got into any of that stuff. But then there's stuff like Are You Being Served, which I like. That's like a British mall sort of a shopping show. It was very funny because it was like this.
Okay.
There's like a bunch of stuck-up British people, and they're always saying these filthy jokes. Because there was this old lady, and she would talk about her cat, but she would be like, it was obviously double entendre. She'd be like, "My pussy has been running away," and then you hear the audience like dying of laughter and shit. And obviously Benny Hill, but Benny Hill, you know what's funny about Benny Hill? Because that's more of like Mr. Bean territory, where it's just like goofy
It's
humor.
like
I wouldn't say
double
it's
meanings
stupid.
of things.
Yeah, and apparently in England they didn't give a fuck about Benny Hill, but America like loved Benny Hill, which sucks because Benny
Right.
Hill was awesome. And anyway, so that kind of stuff, and it's very dry in that sense where you don't know if you showed this to somebody who's never known what British humor is, they'd be like, God, this is depressing, this is fucked up. So
No, this is so funny to me.
I think it's funny too. I think there was certainly parts where I laughed out loud. Like, this is a film where I did not like the main characters. I wanted to. I understood Tina, and I kind of felt bad for her because obviously she was stuck in a life that she thought was shit, and her mother was obviously overbearing. But it didn't take long for me to not like Chris, because I was like, Chris is sort of just being this sort of piece of shit. Like sort of the Punisher, but for no reason.
What do you expect?
Yeah, right. But I didn't know. Is that a thing? Was he like an actual serial killer before he met her, or did I hear that wrong? So he said he had killed more people in 3 days than he'd done in years. Is that what he said? Because I thought I misheard what he said.
Yeah, well, he had been on a break.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. All right. So this
He's
is
not like a
essentially
serial killer like Jeffrey Dahmer. He's just like a guy who.
Yeah, if he was like Jeffrey Dahmer,
he'd
he'd be like. If he was Jeffrey Dahmer, he'd be sucking on cut-off penises. So this is a different
and
serial
freezing
killer.
them in his freezer.
Yes, and then trying to. That's not funny. You know, it's funny because it's not funny what I was about to reference about him dropping acid into a young Asian boy's head and making him into a zombie love slave. What a disturbing.
You remember that horrible Jeffrey Dahmer movie we covered?
I just thought about that. That movie was so bad. It's
the part
amazing.
where he hits him with the dumbbell and it's in slow motion.
Don't go, 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 go. You gotta watch that movie. The movie's called what was it called? The Real.
I'll look it up. You keep talking about.
Okay.
This.
Anyway, so yes, so apparently Chris is a balding gentleman in his late 30s, maybe early. No, he's late 30s, and this is sort of a film.
The Secret Life of Jeffrey.
Secret
Dahmer.
Life of Jeffrey Dahmer, a masterpiece of horrible movie. I mean, seriously, it's a great horrible movie. Like
it's really funny.
Like, people want to say Birdemic is great because it's so terrible, but The Secret Life of Jeffrey Dahmer might be my favorite biopic of any movie of all time because you can tell it's made up bullshit. Anyway, these two people are sort of midlife people that don't have any futures, super dorks, and they. How high of us to talk about characters like this? Anyway,
I'm not talking dork in like an insult, but they come off as like they want to go to pencil museums. I would go to a pencil museum.
Me too. I would love to do that. I love that kitschy
everything they did on their tour, I would love to do, like for real. But I wouldn't kill people on the tour.
Tina's overbearing mother is played by Eileen Davis Carroll. She's played very well. She's a complete fucking nightmare. She seems. They had a dog named Poppy that accidentally, in a comedic way, very dark British humor, died by jumping on a pair of knitting needles.
The scene where Carol falls down the stairs, or she's laying on the floor. And and then she just gets up and walks away.
Yeah, because it's supposed to play off like, oh my god, something horrible happened, but she was just like bullshitting.
She's just
that was
being
funny.
Dramatic.
And also the funniest thing one of the funnier scenes is when she is writing a letter to Chris with that giant pencil because it was so ridiculous. Yeah. She's sitting in the restaurant of the Pencil Museum writing with a giant. That's the sort of thing English humor is. It's just very bizarre
and random.
If this was made, like if they remade this an American film, they would have fucking the guy from 2.5 Men. What's his name? The guy from Punk'd. They'll have him go, "Oh my god!"
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, they'll have Ashton Kutcher run around and his pants would fall down and people would start laughing, thinking it's the most brilliant comedy ever. But here it's more subtle humor. And so these two hook up, and he spirits her off to, or takes her away to different places, and which they meet other ancillary characters, and they off them.
And
And
at
we're
first
learning
you're
Chris.
thinking, because the mom doesn't like him, and you're thinking at first, okay, like this guy's done nothing wrong, but then they play it off like he doesn't do anything wrong, like he's getting kind of weird with the guy, and he hits him with the car, but it is an accident. It's not on purpose. Like,
Right.
so
So
you
you're
don't
thinking maybe
realize.
that's the yeah, because that when I saw only the first 10 minutes of this film a long time ago, and I just didn't
Right.
watch it for some reason. When he first kills that guy, I thought, oh, maybe this is like a bloodlust sort of thing, and like then he starts going crazy. But then you realize later on that he's been wanting to do this. It's not just he got off on it, and but he's one of those guys that I think feels righteous about everything. So he's one of those
Yeah,
he's a
he's a
bit holier
prick.
than thou, and he's very hypocritical because once Tina gets into the killing business, he starts judging her, like almost like she's encroaching on his sort of lifestyle. Meanwhile,
Well, they
he's
have
just
different
doing.
Reasons. She's killing people because she's like,
She's like a
like
and I think
she's
maybe
like a
that's
sociopath. She's like an emotionless sociopath. He's like angry.
I think it's no. I think it's different. I think it's more of like it's sort of like a play on sexuality, not sexuality. I mean the sexes of film, because he's more like I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm gonna kill this guy, and her it's more out of passion. So it's sort of I think playing off of women being more passionate than men are, and men have a different sort of passion in killing.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is after it's done, like he doesn't give a he's like he's angry about it, and he's like, yeah, I killed that guy.
And he
She's like,
stews
she
on
doesn't
it,
even
right?
care. She doesn't even care. Like,
Yeah, that's
it
true. That
means
is
nothing
funny.
to her.
Because there are parts like I actually like the Martin character, the guy that he was friends with.
Oh, the bicycle
The
pod
guy with the
thing
bicycle and
guy?
the little sort of cocoon pod that he has that he tries
Yeah,
to
that part
invent,
was awesome.
and then she pushes his cocoon over a ledge and kills him. And I was like, oh shit, this was funny, because then she goes back into the fucking truck and she goes, well, that solves that, and he goes, oh fucking hell, and he just runs out looking for his friend
Yeah,
Martin,
like
who's
it
dead
took him a
now.
moment to get it.
It's just so stupid. But the part that had me laughing before that is when they're inside the little room, inside the caravan, and she starts groping his legs trying to fuck him, and it was the fucking. I couldn't stop laughing because how awkward that guy was. Because the guy obviously is like, what? He wants to get out of there, and it's just so awkward. The whole movie is like
He
this
tries
weird
to go to sleep.
awkwardness.
He fakes going to sleep.
It's so fucking stupid. It's just a funny movie, and that's the thing that I like about it, is just because it's so bizarre. And I mean, there are stretches where you don't like the characters, like when he kills that writer, and he beats him over the head with a rock, and they steal the
Oh,
dog.
because he's jealous of him writing a book.
Right, Chris is not a likable character. Well, he turns out to not be likable. At least the first 10 minutes, he's like an all right guy. Even when he kills that first guy by accident, you're like, okay, it was an accident, but he has this bloodlust. And usually films, you'll get to you either side with it.
I knew nothing. Did you know anything going into this? Like, I mean, you had
No,
seen
I knew
10
there were
minutes, but
killers.
that's
I
not
knew it was a
enough.
I knew it was a movie about two killers, but I wasn't sure how it went about it.
I didn't.
Okay.
I knew nothing. So
Essentially,
I was
this
actually
is-
surprised.
This is almost like a rom-com version of Natural Born Killers, like a romantic weird comedy version. Because like in Natural Born Killers, I didn't like Mickey or Mallory either, just because they sort of had that holier than thou things.
I loved
Although
them.
did you like Mickey and Mallory in that film?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
did. I mean that movie's way more like comic book. Like you fall in love with these people.
Okay.
And it's kind of a statement about elevating these types of bad people. Also.
Right, of course, yeah. Which is weird because I liked, obviously, I liked Patrick Bateman, and he's worse than all these people but I think it's more because he wasn't human or something. Like he didn't feel like he was a human being. Like but there was an innate comedy in a way in American Psycho. I liked his character because I thought he was sort of laughable at how alien he was to everybody. But here, these people are sort of realistic.
I just like Mickey and Mallory because they're so in love. These people aren't in love so much,
Right.
but then at the end they kind of are, which is nice.
Yeah, but it also has that very funny ending, very black ending where her hands loosen up as he jumps to his death, and you see him actually hit the ground. So, I mean, there's people asking the question, like, do you think she intentionally let him die, or she got scared and pulled back at the last minute?
I think she's like a sociopath. She let him die, and now she's going to go back to her life with her mom as if nothing happened and never think about it again.
because they essentially destroyed all the evidence by destroying their caravan, and also
And he's the only one implicated, really.
although in the no, because in after the bride got killed, the woman that was
Yeah.
in her thing, they said a man with a ginger beard and a emotional woman.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
don't really know what they look like, honestly. I'm sure those women were so drunk they wouldn't be able to tell, what the fuck what they looked like. And it was crummy of him sitting there, making out with that bride when she went to the bathroom. Like he was just being a real shithead. Um,
Yeah.
I think I liked the film a lot. I didn't think it was the greatest film, but I liked it for what it was. It feels like a small, intimate film, and it doesn't feel like any other of Ben Wheatley's movies, which makes
Yeah.
me appreciate it.
Field in
But it
England is
does,
like an epic, amazing film. This is more like, oh, this is cool. Like you can enjoy it, but it's not. I'm not gonna like think about this movie a million times afterwards. You know.
So this is something this is from one of the thread from the Sightseers thread. It says the ending hyphen spoilers, obviously. So somebody brings up Ambrosia L says, I got the impression that after reading his notebook and realizing what he wanted them to do on the viaduct, she had no intention of killing herself. In my view, she realized the relationship would never be as good as she wanted it to be, so she decided beforehand that she wouldn't jump. I think when he said she wasn't qualified to murder people, she didn't like that. It seemed as far as serial killing went, he was a bit of a sexist and only wanted to kill people who pissed him off. I'm thinking this because she didn't look conflicted about jumping or not jumping. So there's a certain, I guess it's nice to have it open in interpretation for that ending and what she
I
wants,
really
because
do
they're certainly
believe.
complicated.
I do believe that she had no intention and that she's gonna just go back to her life as if nothing happened.
Yeah, so this
Like,
is also
yeah,
MC333 says, I didn't think she let him die intentionally. I don't think the character was cunning enough to do something that would have involved that forethought. She was quite impulsive with her murders. So I think, yeah, there was also people saying the only person that she would let that was controlling, not like him, would be her mother. So she was sort of used to being controlled, and I think this was somebody that she wasn't blood related to, that she can kill. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
I didn't get from that artwork of them standing on the viaduct they were going to kill themselves, but I guess in hindsight it does look like they might kill themselves because they're standing on top of it instead of standing underneath it.
I didn't
Um,
expect it at all. I
okay.
was totally surprised by it.
What are things that didn't work for you with this film?
It's like the same thing that does work for me is that like what you were saying. It's like a small scale sort of.
Okay.
I'm more into like kind of epic sort of feeling things. This is more like a good movie that I would watch, but it's not like I'm gonna like think about this a lot. Like Fields of England, I still think about like
Yeah.
kind of frequently actually,
I
and
just
I still think
recommended that
about Kill
film
It.
to I recommended that film to somebody today, so I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
it's like one of my. It's like in my like top 20 or
Because in the
something. Like I
conversation
really
with
like.
a conversation about Field of England, I said I liked it more than The Witch, and I said it has like 1/14 the budget of The Witch, but I still liked it more than
I
The
love
Witch.
The Witch too, actually.
Yeah, and
But
people
yeah,
like The
Field
Witch
of
too, so
England
that's
is
what I was
better.
saying. But there's something about a Field of England that sort of made it. It played artistically with the style as opposed to The Witch, which sort of visually had its look to it.
The Witch is way
Um,
more serious. Field of England is like totally like a cartoon or something. It's amazing.
I wouldn't go that far, but I know what you mean. I understand that it sort of tilted the reality for what it was, especially the freak out scene, the drug scene was
Oh, I love
insane.
that.
But yeah, I think Ben Wheatley did a pretty good small film here, and I think he probably did it on the cheap and did it, just a couple of days with. He did what this film seems like now. Seeing who wrote it, I think he wrote it he did it with his two friends, and they shot it and just to go and do stuff. You know what I mean? And it feels like, and it feels fun. And the gore is really good because that one guy who got his face smashed in, like I didn't
Yeah,
expect
that
his
was
face to look like that because if you've seen Kill List and how they smashed that guy over the head with a hammer in the movie, that was fucking one of the most grotesque things I've ever seen. Like they don't shy away from it, and the guy's face was like fucking hamburger meat. It was really gross in this film.
A lot of bludgeoning in this
Yeah,
movie.
it's very comedic. Like the parts where people get run over by cars, it's very obviously like bad special effects with blood spurting out everywhere. But that face hammer, I mean, the face getting smashed by the rock was pretty gross. But I liked it. I
Even
thought it
just
was.
the part where they push the bike over the thing, even
Uh
though you
huh.
don't even see anything, like that one was like, oh my god, like you could just picture what it would be like. It's very
Yeah.
realistic.
Yeah, yeah, I liked it. It's a nice small film. It's very black British humor. I think if you're into that sort of humor, even if you're not, because like I don't really, that sort of humor doesn't necessarily translate well to me. But I laughed at certain parts, and that's more than I can say about a lot of American films that are supposedly comedies that haven't made me laugh at all. When this film has just like subtle jokes that work even better than those.
Yeah.
Um, so with that, I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. Um, 7 out of 10. Having watching a woman who is ready to get married smoking and throwing her right over a fucking cliff while she steals your jewelry or she
Okay.
rips off your jewelry.
I'm gonna give this a 7.5 out of
Ooh,
10.
always got to be better,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah, gotta be better or worse. I never agree with you. That's the key.
That's true. That's
I'm
okay.
gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Um,
Oh,
hmm.
love this. I always love this part. I love it.
Seven and
It's
a
great.
half out of 10. Oh God. Oh yeah.
Listen to this.
Pretending to fall on the ground and calling your daughter and crying as if you're
That's funny.
hurt, and then just getting up and being perfectly fine. But you actually didn't have to physically lay on the ground because you're on the phone and she can't see you anyway.
And with that, Danny, what's the final word?
2001.
The horror deconstruction.